January changes everything. Big wins, big money, big decisions. We smash Liverpool, dump Birmingham out of the FA Cup, and then watch our cup dreams die in extra time in the Carabao Cup. All whilst losing our best defender to Saudi money. Look at this. Charlie Hughes. There've been a lot of teams interested in this gentleman, and a few of the clubs are now meeting his minimum fee release clause, and there's no way that I can keep hold of him, which is unfortunate. So it's going to make me think about who else we bring in terms of backup, and here's confirmation of Fabio Chiarodia. He's also gone to Hertha Berlin on profit, may I add. Like, it's good that we're turning profit. It's good to see, but we're losing a few players that I've had for a couple of seasons and deemed necessary, so we're going to have a look at having them backed up. Ray Morris was a youth prospect, so is Aaron Stewart, and they've both gone out on loans, which is brilliant, so they'll gain some nice experience because they've now reached the age of 18, so I don't mind them going out on loan to teams. And like I say, we're looking a bit threadbare, so Benjamin Arthur, we may be calling on him. He might not be a fringe player for long, and so is Josh. He might be called into the fray as well. It's a good job I'd picked these guys up in the summer, because I think might need to call on them now that a few of our players are having a bit of interest in them. Hegebo's coming back from injury, and we've lost Andre Santos on injury as well, and I may reconsider about Louis Leroux going out on loan, just because I feel we need a team more than ever. But we got 7.4 million after the sale of Chiarodia, and then maybe some more money if Charlie Hughes goes. It looks like he will, because he's being offered lots more money than we could offer him, and if money's the driver, then so be it. Fair play to him. Not going to get in his way. Plus, we can bring somebody else in as well, I think. Someone that we can propel us to even better heights, that we can have a look at. So we've got Birmingham, Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, Chelsea, Wolves, Norwich, and Notts Forest second leg round again. Sorry. So we start off with Liverpool, Louis Leroux setting up Martinez, and this was an annihilation job of Liverpool, who are struggling this season. They're around 10th, 11th, with other league strugglers Chelsea. So the fact that we came away with this with a 3-0 win was fantastic, and it was just literally the Louis Leroux and David Martinez show, because you'll see now, it was the first Louis Leroux set up David Martinez, does it again for a second time, and then does it again for a third time. So Martinez gets his hat-trick and further cements himself as a wide forward that's scoring a lot of goals for us. So the fact that we'd lost Hegebo to injury for 6 or 7 weeks, and we were relying on Burstow, who isn't getting a lot of goals himself anyway, the fact that Martinez is stepping up, and so is Philogene on the left, and they're contributing to a lot of our goals, which is brilliant. I'm really happy with how it's all turned out. But the better they play, the more teams are going to be interested. So I'm going to have to have a little think about how much I want to restructure the wage budget, because I think I need to keep some of these players now, because they are looking really, really good, especially if we're challenging for some European spots, wanting to propel ourselves up to the echelons of the Premier League. We need players like Martinez and Philogene, I think. So it'll be quite important to have a look at the wage structure and see what we can do and how we can keep some of our top players. Although we're selling them on profit, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but I think because they're established themselves, it's nice to keep hold of some of these players. So that was the 3-0 whopping of Liverpool, and then it didn't stop there. We just seemed to be scoring loads of goals, and I think Burstow is quickly becoming a cup striker, because he just can't stop scoring in the cup. Just doesn't score in the league, but in the cups he's absolutely fantastic. So he sets himself off there for 1-0 against Birmingham, and we already played these in the Carabao Cup, so it was another really good game. And like I said in the last episode, a nice way of seeing how we've transitioned from the Championship to the Premier League now, because we did the same again. It was just literally a repeat of that game in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, although this time we didn't score as many. one less goal, but I'm not going to complain there. But yeah, it's January, and a couple of the teams are interested in some of our players, so it's given me a bit of a few things to think about in terms of who they look to, what areas we strengthen, and if they're interested in going as well. Because if they're not interested in going, I don't mind keeping hold of them, because I feel like I'm gelling with this team at the moment now, and Burstow getting his second goal. So if a player wants to go, because obviously wages are going to be higher, then I don't mind, because I feel we're selling on quite a bit of profit some of these players that we bought for cheap, and then we're flipping them, which is giving us more money to play around with, which I can keep trying to pick. January I try and keep to loans as well. I don't necessarily try and buy players, because I feel in the summer you get more of a better pool of players, because obviously teams have been relegated that may not have expected to be relegated, so some of those minimum fee release clauses come into play, and I can pick up really good players on a cheap. And I feel like some people have got a full season behind them as well, so some of them become more experienced. That's my way of thinking anyway. When I look at the transfer windows, I always tend to try and strengthen via loans if necessary, or just buy some youth players that are playing really well and loan them back out to the club that they were playing at, and then we've got a bit of a feeder coming through. Because one thing that did annoy me at the start of this season that I haven't shared yet is we had quite a lot of youths taken from our academy, from like Manchester City, Aston Villa. Nothing that I could do. It was like literally it picked the pool of those players before they've even joined our academy, and then I get like 100 grand for every so often that they play. So it's a bit frustrating, because now we've got poor youth intake this season, so it's quite important that I've got that feeder. I feel like I need feeder of youths coming through to step up into the first team. Then that's the way I've always tried to play, is like establish a team, bring through the youths into the team then as well via experience from other teams, or if they're good enough to play for the first team, give them like a few games here or there. But I haven't had a regen that's like blown me out the water this season so far. But we've got a few players that are out on loan that have been showing that look really good as well. So hopefully they can come into the first team. And then before I show you the Arsenal game, we've loaned in Stefanos Zimas from Brighton. Brighton seem to be our team to go to for really good players. So I think Stefanos is going to be the answer to our strikers issue. So I've done him on a loan to buy for 23 million. And the reason I liked the look of Stefanos Zimas is because if you look now with the comparison to Burstow, he is better in a lot of different ways. His attributes, and he's much younger, and he's physically better. He's mentally on par. Set pieces are much better, and look at that, technically much more capable than Burstow. So I think Stefanos might be the answer that we're looking to, and he's had some very good stints at other teams as well, and he's been in Brighton for a couple of seasons, and he's similar height, and I'm really happy with the deal that we've got in on him, because he's got some really good stats and very good experience behind him, and like nearly got 50% goal ratio there, or a third, sorry. So I'll show you now, because he's already scored for us, but he's had loan stints at Ipswich, at Leicester, and he's look at that. I should have picked him up then when we were at Ipswich. I didn't notice him playing in the same league as us at that point, where he's got 22 goals in 40 games. I thought Hegebo was the top goal scorer at that time, and that's who I brought in instead. But yeah, we've got him. We'll see how he does, and already he's made an impact in this Arsenal game, which I'll show you now, because Arsenal are a tough team to play against, and they already, straight off the bat, 16 minutes in, their new striker showing us what he's all about, putting them to a goal to the good. But as I said, Zimas then gets us a goal back, making that instant debut impact lovely. That's what we've been missing. Striker's instinct, and he gets his first goal and already made a nice little impression on me there. I was like, oh, okay, so we might have a real good talent on our hands here, with the option to buy as well, which is fantastic. If we can steal him for 23 million, I'll be laughing. But it wasn't to be against Arsenal, who are in the top 4 positions. They get the lead again through a really well taken goal. I noticed, well, I say well taken goal. I noticed my defence, because I think we've lost Charlie Hughes at this point, because he's gone, which I'll show you further on in the episode. So that's probably why you're not seeing him in the team. So it's either Benjamin Arthur or Josh. I've been rotating them in that centre-back position, but they've been doing quite well, and they're playing tough teams, and they're still fairly young. That's what I got to remember about this team, is they're still fairly young. So the more experience they get, the better they'll be. That's probably why I want to keep tight hold of them as well. So yeah, it wasn't to be against Arsenal, but that's absolutely fine. And then we came up against Chelsea, and Philogene doing his trademark usual, cutting in the inside, getting us a goal. And Chelsea are also struggling like Liverpool, so to win 4-0 was such a good feeling, because again, they've got a good team, Chelsea. I noticed against Liverpool as well, I should have mentioned in the Liverpool game, that they're playing some of the players that they had in their first season. So the likes of Mo Salah, who are all good players, don't get me wrong, and a massive keeper error there for Zimas's second goal. So yeah, they're playing a lot of their older players, so I'm wondering if the experience just succumbed to the youth in that game, so that's why they lost 3-0. And then Chelsea, yeah, I just don't know what was happening there with that goalkeeper, but I will take it. And it didn't stop there for us. So now we are scoring plenty of goals. So we're not just winning 1-0 or drawing 1-1 all the time. And again, I just don't know what they were doing at the back. Burstow getting his second league of goal of the season. And that's funny because it's taken him like 20 games, whereas Zimas is taking him like 2 or 3. So you can already see the stark contrast between those two strikers. And these wins are just pushing us up further up the table, and like I say, I don't think Chelsea will be struggling too long because they've got such a good team. But I'll take it, because we literally are smashing expectations again, to the point where we're nearly challenging for European positions. I won't get ahead of myself though, because this is our second season, so avoiding relegation is the main aspect, main priority for us, because that's what the board has given me. But to be as high up as we are, and it'd be nice if we can finish better than 11th, because that's where we finished last season. So if I can do that again and get that money coming in and securing league status, then I'll be really happy. And like the 4-0 win is only helping with that. And then we played newly promoted Wolves, Wolves, and Ada gets his first goal. He's someone that's been really impressive as well. Even though he's a backup player to McDonnell, I really like Wesley Ada. I think he's going to be one of those that are probably going to be a first team regular at some point. At the age of 21, he's just gaining the experience needed at the moment, and he's such a good defensive midfielder. I'm so glad we picked him up from Werder Bremen for 9.5 that we did on his relegation release fee clause. I love things like that. I just, when you find players that are just absolutely phenomenal and on the cheap. So I really trust my scouting system at the moment, and Philogene here with another trademark goal. He's just banging them in for fun, and it was a 2-0 win against the Wolves. Sorry, keep saying Leeds. Sorry guys. Norwich was a frustrating game, even though we took the lead. It ended in a 1-1 draw, and Norwich were newly promoted as well. But back to my scouts, I'm really happy with who they're finding. Their recommendations are coming in quite strong, and we seem to be picking up players that I feel are working very well together. So keep trusting that process. So I'll try and find, my priority is going to be trying to find a centre-back in the summer, because we're short on centre-backs, because we've lost Chiadoria and we lost Hughes. So two like they were regulars last season for us that kept us in the Premier League. So I feel maybe when we get that summer money again, if we can stay in the Premier League, I think the majority of that will probably go towards finding a really good centre-back for us. And like I say, it was a frustrating game against Norwich, who held up well. They're towards the bottom. They're not in the relegation places. They're just above them. So I think they're fighting for some points. So fair play to them. They got the draw against us. Frustrating for me because they're newly promoted, and I'd like to win against all the newly promoted teams. But sometimes it's just one of those things that FM throws at you. And then we were out of the Carabao Cup as well. So extra time is what it took for Nottingham Forest to steal the winner and put themselves in the final with Liverpool, not Man City, as I said in the last episode. So as we end January and end of the transfer window, I've got 13.2 million to spend, 30 on the wages, which I might increase. I might increase that just so that it's ready for next season, because I can't buy anybody else. But I'll have a look at who my scouts are looking at in terms of centre backs. We've made a lot of money this season, so we've spent 93 on transfers in and 138 on out. So I'm really happy that we've got a positive deficit there. So I'll show you who else we bought. We bought, confirmation of Zimas, who's absolutely gonna break into he's breaking into the first team and already making himself known to our team, which is great. And he's got some international experiences as well. We got Harry Gray from Coventry for 10.5 million. We activated his higher division release clause and loaned him back to Coventry. And then I found Dejan Mithali through the scouts, who was at Toulouse as a left back option. You'll see why in a minute. He looks quite decent. So we'll have a look at Harry Gray, because he's got decent stats as well. So yeah, the reason I looked and bought him for 10.5, because he's playing so well in the Championship. He's getting quite a few goals, and he's an English talent as well. And Dejan is playing in Toulouse, has done very well in their term in the League One, and then they've been relegated to League Two, and he's playing very well there as well. So I've loaned them back out to Toulouse because that's what they asked for, so I don't mind that. And then I can use Scally and Josh as the wing back option, backups, etc. So I've got wriggle room to loan him out. And we can see why Charlie Hughes opted for the Saudi Arabian teams, because he was getting 8 to 11 times more than what he was getting at Preston. So fair play to him. I hope he does well, and he's been such a good talent for us and a player. So it's sad to see him go, but I'm glad we made such a nice profit on him. And Kabar, Stuttgart came in for him, and they came in for 17.5, so I think there's some add-ons there as well. So it says 13 million with 11.25 profit, because we brought him from Dortmund, but he's gone to Stuttgart. So he hopefully he does well, and like I say, that's why I brought in Dejan then and loaned him back out. So that's what we've done in terms of January. And then we won 3-0 against Liverpool, 4-0 against Birmingham. The first leg of the Carabao, 1-1 with Nottingham Forest, 2-1 loss against Arsenal, the 4-0 win against Chelsea, and then the 2-0 win against Wolves. I do apologise, paused here because I was called in to help with something at home whilst I was trying to record. So we paused here for a little bit. But there was a 1-1 draw against Norwich, 1-0 loss against Nottingham Forest, which knocked us out of that Carabao Cup. So that's a chance to get into the European positions gone, which is fine. We can't make the finals all the time. It would have been nice to make the final again, back to back, but we might have a good cup run in the FA Cup this time round. But we've got opposition of Man United, so we got them twice. So we got them in the Premier League and then in the FA Cup. 4th round, Brentford, Bournemouth and Fulham. So not many games left, but we're sitting comfortably with 38 points in the competition. So we're sitting 7th. So I'm really happy with this, because we're higher than we were last season. 38 points is nothing to turn our noses at after 24 games, with a 16 goal positive goal difference as well. So we're way away from the relegation battles. We have to go in a real dire form for us to be relegated now. So I'd like for us to get a few more points to secure that, because we got 48 last season. If I can beat that and make sure we get higher than 11th, then I'll be happy, because we can build on that, I think. So yeah, and then these are the points that you need for those European playoff positions. Can we do it? I'm unsure. Hopefully we can. It'll be really, really tough. But this team have been surprising me, but we have lost a few key players. So it'll be interesting to see how we do towards the end of the season. And this is while the team are they're all getting greens now because they're playing so well. Burstow's wanted, and it's always the Saudi teams that are coming in for my players. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or a bug with the game. I'm quite happy to sell a few of them to the Saudi teams, but when they come in for players I don't want to sell, it's just frustrating. And then all of my loans are doing really good spells. I'll probably get rid of Patrick Utro at some point. Ben Nink's doing really well. So's Piers Charlton. He's only played 3 games, but yeah, some of the loans looking really smart as well. James Wilson's also someone that we can keep an eye on. And Mason Burso was concerned because Zimas came in, and I told him, "I'm sorry, but you haven't been the scoring sort of thing, so that's why we brought somebody in." So if I've set him a target then of a match rating of average of 7 to get back into the team. But that's the overview. That's January. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and stay cheeky.